All right. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna be straight. It's 12:06. And I've been thinking since yesterday, how the hell am I gonna do this podcast today? Now, I feel comfortable speaking my mind to all of you. I figure if you guys are paying $3 a month to support the channel, you know enough about me to know how I am, who I am. I'm gonna just assume that that support is not expected or guaranteed. I'm just going to assume I'm free to speak my mind without over concern about losing people. So I'm going to just try to explain my position on all of this as much as I can. I don't know if I'm going to just leave this members only. I don't know if I'm going to put this out for the entire channel. It's a shame I have to be concerned and worried and afraid to put what I'm going to say out on my channel, but after 7 years. But so as the day went on yesterday, I had a gut feeling. Now, to give away the ending, I was correct. And for those of you who are just here for the hockey, you can hear the story about how my gut was correct and take solace in the knowledge that during the preseason, I said my gut said we were going to start slow, make the playoffs, and win the cup. Point is yesterday my gut was screaming at me all day, and boy, did I end up correct. So it was already a rough day. Kyle going off to Florida for 10 days. I know he'll be back. It's I don't know why it affected me the way it did. I guess just because we do the streams together, we watch the games together. But for whatever reason, the last couple of days, I end up engaging on Twitter, and which is usually a mistake. Like I've said before, we need a sports app. We need a sports app that is just sports, like just sports. Like we'll ignore anything political, whether it be military night or pride night or whatever it is. Just ignore all of that and just be straight 100%. These are the players, and this is the game, and this is what happened without comment on. I got to check to see if my heater's on. Without comment on any of it. I'm sure that would be a welcome sight to most people, but past that, now I could go to all manner of different websites. I mean, ESPN has political stuff. All of the mainstream stuff is going to include politics and agendas in their coverage. And I'm just somebody that genuinely just wants to watch the games, talk about the games, talk about the players. Now, when I grew up in the 80s, I grew up listening to sports talk, WIOD, WQAM down there in Miami. Neil Rogers, Jeff DeForest, Kim Bocamper, Jim Mandich, Joe Rose, Hank Goldberg, just to name a few. And they talked sports. And the callers called in and talked sports. Now, Neil Rogers obviously wasn't a sports show, but what's interesting about this conversation is Neil Rogers was clearly the most popular of the bunch. Everybody loved Neil, and he was the one that was openly gay. None of us cared. I went to school, had gay friends. None of us cared. I went into the military. I know a couple of guys who were in the closet, so to speak, back then. This is 1990. So it was right before Clinton with the don't ask, don't tell. People knew. Nobody cared. Yeah, they might whisper at a party by themselves. But in front of those people, they showed them no disrespect. They didn't treat them any differently. This is my experience. I'm telling you my experience so that you understand my opinion. Every one of us has had a different experience. I'm just telling you mine. Military, like I said, I knew gay guys, at least two, in my dorms, on my floor. What are the odds? There was only like 30 or 40 of us on a floor. I guess that mathematically, adds up, but you got to figure if there were one or two that we kind of knew about, you figure maybe there were 3 or 4 that were just hiding it. Never sat in a meeting, never played sports, or was at the gym, or never had any experience where I heard guys sending out slurs in their directions or talking about them behind their back. We just kind of knew. Nobody cared. I became a massage therapist in 2007. A lot of my clients, the first few years, were gay, men and women. Nobody cared. A couple of times, I had gay guys make advances towards me. They didn't teach me that in massage school. In massage school, all they taught you as a male massage therapist, all they taught me in massage school was how not to act towards the women. They left out the part that depending on where you live, if you're doing house calls and you're a male and it's a male calling you for the house call, they're expecting something more than massage. They didn't tell us that part. So when I got out of massage school, I just placed my ad and thought, oh, good, I'm getting clients. And 80% of them never did anything. I would say 1 or 2 out of 10 made advances, some of them forcefully, enough of them forcefully enough to where I had to no longer take male house call clients because I'm 5'6", and when there is a 6'2" naked man standing there pissed off at me that I'm not going to do what he's asking me to do, figured, I don't really need this. I don't need to be standing here feeling like I'm in danger. But they were just going by their own nature. I was the outsider. I was the one in that situation who didn't understand the culture in that area I lived in. So I just removed myself. Never had a bad word with them. In fact, a couple of the guys that I stopped taking as clients, I actually would run up on them at the yard sales. We'd shake hands, say, hey, how you doing? No harm, no foul. I just didn't want to put myself in that position again. No animosity, no nothing. When I first had my first taste of politics, my parents always voted Democrat as a kid. What was the governor's name down there? Was it Graham? That sounds familiar. They voted for Jimmy Carter. Then after Carter, they said, oh, wait, whoa, hold on a second. They weren't so sure about the Democrats anymore. So they started voting Republican. I was in the military from 89 to 90, whatever. I had Greenpeace stickers all over my wall. The first election I voted in, I voted for Clinton. I even voted for Al Gore because I'm a one-issue voter. I am very highly, for the most part, or at least I have been in the past, a one issue voter. And that issue is who's not going to take us to war. So I voted for Al Gore because I knew that if Bush got in, I felt like he was fixing to try to start a war with China. Now, I wasn't right about China, but he started a war all right. Point is I voted for Al Gore. And then I voted for Obama the first time. Second time I didn't vote because it didn't matter. He was winning, so I just didn't vote. And then they gave us a choice between Clinton and Trump. And it's like, well, I'd rather have the strength of Trump as a deterrent to other countries starting any garbage with us. And I just couldn't trust Clinton, did not trust Hillary Clinton to not get us into a conflict. So I voted Trump and was immediately branded all of the things. You know all of the words. You know all of the things that someone like myself would have been called. White, bald, with a beard. I have a gruff personality. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that despite the fact that I never had an ill will in my heart, in my body, in my mind towards any of these people, I was suddenly accused of being all of these hateful things. And to be honest, that started with Clinton calling us deplorables. I don't think people understand how many people were on the fence because I was one of them. Kyle was another one. I don't know if he was old enough to vote then, but I think he was paying attention. But the point is I knew multiple people who were on the fence, myself included. But when she said deplorables, okay, I know who I'm voting for by default. It's not like we got 6 choices out there. And of course, we got branded all of the names, and I'm not going to say because you know them. And in case I decide to make this video public, I don't want to get the video taken down. You know the things, like Joe Biden says. You know the thing. So economy was good. Things were good. I wasn't dumb enough to trust Joe Biden. I wanted Tulsi Gabbard. Just to give you an idea of where my actual politics are in terms of thought process and I don't know what the word is, but I wanted Tulsi Gabbard. So I was again forced. I mean, it was Biden or Trump. So of course I voted Trump again. You could say he lost. You could say he won. Doesn't really matter. We got what we got now. And a lot of people are asking because apparently now I'm not defending the Staals in this one instance, but I'm just going to give you an answer to a question that has come up because of the fact that there's video of one of them wearing the Pride jersey in Montreal, and he says he never wore it. Maybe he don't remember. Maybe he's being disingenuous. Maybe he's not counting it because the building was empty. I'm not defending that, but a lot of people in because of that are saying, well, what changed? What changed? Well, what changed is now I'm going to take a guess. I know what changed for me. Let's just go down by the list. L, lesbian. I don't care if you're lesbian. My best client when I was a massage therapist was a lesbian. She managed a Winn-Dixie. She lived with her wife, partner. I don't know if they were able to be married or not. Every week, without fail. And then on the fourth week, she'd give me a tip as much as she could afford. Her dog loved me. We had a great relationship. And she was one of the last clients that I had to get rid of when my health went south. And that sucked. I don't care. G, gay. Again, even though I have probably a few legitimate reasons to not be pleased with how gay men have treated me, I get it. Ain't no different than me hitting on a woman. So no animosity, no bad blood. I don't care. Don't care. LGB, bi. My daughter's bi. Two of my best friends are bi. The bi is such a wide term. Like, what constitutes bi anyway? Like, if you go to college, if you're a girl, if you go to college and you make out with a girl once, does that make you bi? And this is a legit question. Like, what's the line? What's the boundary there? The percentage of people that have had putzed around with the same sex is a lot larger than anybody's ever going to admit. Does that make you bi? But whatever. I don't. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Then you get to the T. And this is where you're starting to divide people. Now, I had two. I'm going to get this right. I had two trans clients. One was a natural male to female. One was legit. Like, forgive me for not knowing the proper term, but she presented as a woman. She presented as a woman, but she had both. She had both. From what she told me, because we talked, because she said how hard it was at her job and how there were a lot of other massage therapists. She wanted to get a massage from a male because her words were stronger. And a lot of male massage therapists, when she wanted to be honest with them, because you're covering people up, but you still can tell what's going on downstairs. And she had fake breasts. She had both appendages, just she didn't have cojones. I'm trying to be as gentle with this as I can. So I don't care. I gave her the price. She was a client. Don't care. And I suspect that most people don't care. They may not understand. But what's changed is it's no longer LGBT. And it's not even the Q and all the stuff that comes after that I don't know or understand. That's not what it is for the overwhelming majority of people. And certainly me personally, don't believe that that's the issue that most people that are using Christianity as an excuse have. I think if people were honest, which usually comes down to me being the one being honest, nobody else in hockey media is going to do this. But if I'm being honest, and I think if majority of those people were honest, the issue is men pretending to be women, to be in women's sports. And all of a sudden now we have to debate whether or not it's okay to have 5-year-olds at drag shows. Now, the whole hormone and all of that stuff, that's another issue. But I'm not going to pretend to understand what doctors are doing enough, me personally, to make any kind of an assumption there. There's so much out there in the media. Who knows what's true? Who knows what's true? But I know I've seen plenty of videos of men dressed as women in thongs with fake boobs on, shaking it in front of 5-year-olds. That I've seen. And then I've seen the community, the LGBT community, defending that. And that, my friends, is where the line is. That's where the line is. That's not we're lesbian, we just want to be married. That's not we're gay, we just want to be able to come out. That's not we're bi, don't judge us. That's none of that. That is an entirely separate, in my opinion, how can I characterize this? Disturbing. It's disturbing that it's gotten that, in quotes now, and follow me here. Let me get this out. It's disturbing to me that acceptance has come that far without enough pushback from what I'm going to call quote normal gay people, the people that were my clients, or even normal trans people. Like by normal trans people, I mean someone who doesn't need to dress provocatively and dance in front of a 5-year-old. How did we go so far that that is okay now? And for anybody who is saying that's not happening, you're lying. It is happening, whether you like it or not. Instead of saying it's not happening, how about just admit it and saying, yes, those people are going too far. Now, if you don't believe that it's too far for a man to be half naked dancing in front of a 5-year-old girl, there's really no hope and no help for you. But that's where the line is. I guarantee it. The overwhelming majority of people who are having an issue with what I call the community, because I forget all the letters, it's not disrespectful. Just no matter what you say, somebody says, why didn't you add in this? If a man decides he wants to be a woman, he wants to be a woman. But if a 6-year-old decides they want to wear pink, it doesn't mean he's a girl. These are two extremely different scenarios. And if the community wants to be accepted, they're going to have to say enough is enough. They're going to have to be willing to draw that line and say, as adults, we're free to do what we want. But kids should not be involved to the level they're being involved. It's one thing to argue about whether they should be able to see this book or that book. There's some pretty disturbing images in these books out there that shouldn't be in schools. But my biggest issue is that if people are saying that these drag shows aren't happening, you're just flat out lying because you know they are. And if you don't know that they are, it's not hard to find the videos that prove that it is happening. Maybe people of that political leanings do not go to the websites where you would find those videos, but that doesn't mean the videos don't exist. And if the community wants true acceptance, full acceptance is just, hey, we're just like you. You can't take a 5-year-old to a straight strip club. You can't take a 5-year-old to go have a woman in a thong and pasties or even a wet t-shirt contest. You can't take a 5-year-old to that. As the straight community, we've said, if you're an adult, you want to go see titties, go see titties. But a 5-year-old with adults in the background drinking, while that community is clamoring and begging and hoping for acceptance, So the point is that what's changed about wearing the jersey is what it now represents. That's what's changed. It's no longer LGBT. It's no longer about just accepting I'm gay. I want to live my life in peace. And me saying, I'll put on the shirt so that you can live your life in peace, so that I can show that I accept you and that you can live your life in peace. It it still means that, but it also means some other things that are completely unacceptable to the overwhelming majority of us. And until the community gets together and says, you know what, I think this has gone too far now, and we need to back off from trying to indoctrinate these kids and just let the kids be kids. Until that happens, you're going to have pushback, and it's going to grow. It's going to grow because where's the boundary? Where's the boundary? Because it's already gone from we just want acceptance, we just want to be married, we just want to be treated like everybody else. No problem with that. 99% of us probably have no problem with that. But if you just want to be just like the rest of us, we don't allow 5-year-olds in our wet t-shirt contests. I won't say strip clubs because then somebody's going to say, well, the drag queens aren't naked. In Fort Lauderdale in the 1980s, my brother from another mother and I used to go to a club called the Candy Store in the Fort Lauderdale Strip. And every night, weekends, in the basement, they'd have a wet t-shirt contest. The girls had bikini bottoms on, white t-shirts. They'd get wet. Everybody be drunk. Every once in a while, one of the girls might flash their titties. There wasn't any 5-year-olds in that basement. There wasn't any 10-year-olds. There wasn't even any 15-year-olds. That's what's changed. That's the line. That's the difference. No different than people should accept what's happened in the church with priests and all of that. Because that's the next argument is, well, Christians have done this, Christians have done that. And by the way, I'm not Christian either. But that's the argument is, well, Christians have had these things. Yeah. And it's been stood up against significantly. But what the community is doing now is, imagine if when the priest controversy came out, imagine if Christians were like, so what's wrong with that? Or that's not happening. Because that's the reaction that most people get now if they complain about 5-year-olds at drag queen story time and drag shows, to be specific. You either get people legitimately saying, what's wrong with that? It's not sexual in nature, which is just the most intellectually dishonest lie you could ever say, or they claim it's not happening. The video's right there. We've all seen it. I'm going to play it here. And I'm going to find it. Well, actually, you can find it on YouTube. There's a number of creators that will show what's going on at some of these drag shows. And there's kids giving them money, putting money in their G-string. Don't believe it? If you think it's not happening because you haven't seen it, then you're a prime example of living in an echo chamber, and you need to watch some other content. Because just because you don't like the other creator's point of view, the video doesn't lie. So if you're legitimately one of these people that says that's not happening, I'll be happy to send you plenty of videos that prove that it is, because it is. And that's the line. And that's what's changed. And that's why you're getting so much pushback. Now, as for the Staals, I agree with, although we don't know the ins and outs of this. I saw somebody say right before I came on that one of the things that bothered them was that they waited so late to say anything. If that's the way it went down, which we don't know, but if it is, I agree with that. Um, they let the team make the statement that everybody was going to participate, and then they said no. We don't know. We don't know if the team made that statement to sort of kind of put the pressure on them, and they had already said that they were wavering and they weren't sure. We don't know. I don't suspect we'll ever know. But don't put it past don't put it past a sports organization to put out that press release to say, watch, they have to do it now because we said so. But if they said they would and then they took it back at the last second, that's not great. But what I saw last night on Twitter, what I saw last night from our reporters, I mean, instantaneously, all of the reporters were reporting it. The Bally's even had Jessica Blaylock doing a short piece about it pregame. And then I see people on Twitter just fighting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I've tried to talk to a couple of people, but people don't want to see it. They don't want to see it because it's all tribalism now. It's all tribalism now. The right could come out and say everybody gets a free puppy, and the left would say we have to ban puppies. It's just purely reactionary at this point. As you hear Fluffy snoring. And so as the day went on, before the Staal thing happened, back to my original point about my gut, as the day went on, I said, I don't trust this. I've seen people already fight all over Twitter before the Staal thing. And I just knew, I said, man, if I go live like I normally do, I am going to be forced into reacting to something that's going to happen live. And so I canceled the live stream, partially because I just wasn't feeling up to it because Kyle was gone, but mostly because I just didn't want to deal with the chat because I have people on one side and people on the other side that are fans of this channel. And there I was going to be live in the middle. And no matter what I said, no matter what I did, half were going to be pissed off at me. So I canceled the stream. And boy, was I right to do so. Because I would have been there, 5 minutes, 7 minutes before game time, having to deal with the Staals not wanting to wear the jerseys. And try to explain yourself and your opinion to social media live. I wasn't going to put myself through that. I knew better, and I was right. So hopefully my gut was right about us winning the cup. But the energy that it took out of me, and I'm sure out of the team, people saying, well, the Staals made it all about themselves. I think even George, was it George? Might not be George. One of the writers, I don't want to call out anybody that I'm incorrect about. One of the writers said something to the effect of the Staals making it all about themselves. Now, I fall on the side of just get rid of all the stupid nights. Just get rid of them all. I don't care. George made a point in his article. Nobody talks about military night. Nobody talks about cancer night. Nobody talks about this night. But every time Pride Night comes around, it's got to be controversy one way or another. Just do away with them all. Just do away with them all. Because what I saw last night from fans, the players, between fans, the media, just like a dog with a bone, like a dog with a bone to it. And there's just one side that just assumes that they are completely 100% in the right, regardless of anything. I explained this. I think I explained this in the podcast last week. There's three kinds of people right now. There's in terms of sports fans. Should be clear. There's three types. There is the side that wants it to be politically involved. Use your platform to be activism. There's that side. There is the extreme right who I've witnessed does have some not so nice people. But then there's the rest of us, the majority of us, to be honest with you, in the middle, who just want to watch the hockey game. We just want to talk about the hockey game. But we're also smart enough to know that 5-year-olds at drag shows is gone too far. And the pushback that you're getting now is from the middle. The extreme right's always going to push back, just like the extreme left's always going to push back. But it's gone too far now. This is not about equal rights anymore. Because if it is about equal rights, if it is about it's equal, I guess we should just start letting 5-year-olds into wet t-shirt contests and strip clubs where they don't get totally nude. I guess. And then where do we draw the line? Is it you can only identify with your gender? When can we identify with at a different age? So I'm tired. I'd like to retire. I would love to identify as old enough to get my Social Security now. I'm tired. I'm working on my life. I'm 51. I've been working since 13. So where's the line? And those of us that are in the middle that just want to be left the hell alone and left in peace, we don't hate anybody. But the problem is, if we don't go along with a certain agenda, we're called haters. We're told that means we hate. And that's how you lose people. That's why you're getting so much pushback. I'm talking to the community now. That's why you're getting so much pushback. If you're screaming out there, love is love, and you want to win people over on your side, first of all, you're never going to win everybody. There's some people you're never going to win, no matter how much hate you throw at them on Twitter. You're not winning that battle. But if it's not about control and it's not about forcing people and it's legitimately about just love and equality and acceptance, why do you treat the people like myself and like many people who are in the middle who just are like, yeah, it's fine. I don't care. Do what you do. We don't care. But why do you treat those people who do not want to show the advert support? Like, Christians don't go, for the most part. They're not saying you have to wear a shirt with a cross on it or it means you hate Christians. And I'll reverse that question. Let's pose that question in a different way. This is a question for somebody on the left, legitimately. I don't even know where I'm going with this, so just hear me out. First question is, do you hate Christians? Some of you might, but some of you might be like, no, they can do their own thing. Okay? So for those of you who say, no, they can do their own thing, and you say you don't hate Christians, if I said to you that for 15 minutes at the start of the game, you had to wear a cross, or else it means you hate Christians, what is that going to do? It's likely going to cause you to hate Christians. You didn't hate them before, but now the Christians are being absurd. You've already told them, hey, look, man, I got no problem. You do you, I'll do me. Everything is good. You've already set that boundary, but now they're coming at you and saying, that's not good enough. You have to wear my cross, or else that means you hate me. What's your reaction going to be? It's much more likely that you're now going to go about hating Christians than it is that you're going to say, oh, okay, I'll wear that to prove that I don't hate you. That's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. And so immediately, as soon as the Staal brothers did what they did, I can't express the sorrow that it causes me to feel when I see all of these people on Twitter, people I know, and the hate that they don't realize that they are spewing the very thing that they're fighting. You are not going to win over the people in the middle who are the majority. You are not going to win those people over with hate every time that they won't do what you demand they do. It is never how it's worked. And it sure as hell ain't how it's going to work in this country. Read a history book of what happens in this country when you try to force the majority of people to do something that they don't want to do. It don't go well, ever. And yet here we are. Here we are. So those of us who just want to live in peace and be left the hell alone, isn't that interesting how the lesbian, gay, trans community say they just want to be left alone and live in peace? And someone like myself is saying, yeah, I just want to be left alone and live in peace. And I can say, I have no hate for you. But if I won't wear your jersey, you immediately hate me. Who's the one that really wants to be left alone and live in peace? Who? And if you want to show that you're just like everybody else, if you want to show that, hey, love is love and there is no normal and all of this, if you want to show that, then you got to join the club with everybody else in realizing that kids is the line. That's where the line is. And don't lie to me or lie to yourself and say it's not happening, because it is. And that's the difference, is that the rest of us, that you just want to be just like the rest of us, you don't want there to be a normal, you want to be treated equally like everybody. Everybody else is on board with the kids are off limits, except this one segment of the population. And I wonder, people in the community, I wonder if it's the same for you as it is for us. What do I mean by that? What I mean is there's a lot of people in the middle, like myself, who are just afraid to speak out like I am here today. There's a lot of people who will just keep their mouth shut, keep their head down, because they don't want to take the heat. And I just wonder how many in the community feel the same way about men and women's sports and kids at drag shows? How many of you feel the same way, but you're afraid to say anything because you don't want to take the heat? It's quite possible. It's maybe even likely that there is a segment of the community that could actually come together with those of us in the middle and say, look, this is over the line, and push back on the craziness. And then maybe we all might actually get along and not have to burn down the damn country. Because right now, what we have is the extremes pointing at the extremes. And that's all we got. Because everybody in the freaking middle is afraid to say anything. Because you get called all the names. I've already been called them. You can't hurt me. You can say whatever you want about me. I ain't going anywhere. Now I've proven I don't like, not like I need to do it, but I've proven over and over and over again. I got no hate for anybody. People come at me year after year after year on Twitter. I try to have cordial discussions with them. I might get a little snarky every once in a while. But I ain't purposely going after anybody like people have purposefully gone after me. But if it's really about just love is love and acceptance, that means everyone. Hockey is for everyone. Hockey is for everyone. Well, I hate to break this to you, but everyone means everyone. Now, I can certainly understand that there's some issues in people's opinions of how the extreme right handles themselves. However, the extreme right is not looking so much at the middle as the extreme right is looking at the extreme left and going, this 5-year-old's at drag shows. Drastic times call for drastic measures. And the community is causing their own issue. Now, it's one thing where there's people that feel this is just being shoved down our throat and constantly pushed and constantly pushed and constantly pushed. Yeah, there's some people that feel that way. It can be a little bit overbearing at times, just the constant pushing of it. But it's not that. That's not really the reason why people are pushing back. We've tried to tell you why people are pushing back. But unfortunately, either it's being denied or nobody in the community will have the balls to stand up with somebody like myself and say, you know what? Enough is enough. We can't say we want to be like everybody else if we've got naked men in G-strings dressed like women with fake titties shaking their ass in front of kids with them giving him money. That's not like everybody else. That's not love is love. That's not we just want to be left alone. That's none of those things. It's something else completely, entirely different. And I suspect most of you know that, but many of you just don't have the balls to say it because you're afraid of what's going to be said about you if you say the truth. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. And I won't be. So maybe I lose some subscribers. Maybe I gain some subscribers. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not getting rich from this. But what I can't stand by anymore, I just can't stand by and just be another one of those who's just, well, I just keep my head down. I just keep my head down. I just shut up. I just keep my head down. Shh, don't say that. Don't say that. Oh no, don't say that. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. Just don't say it. Why? Because out of fear. Now think about that for a second, community. Think about that for a second. The very thing that you were attempting to overcome, the very thing that you were trying to change, the fear of just saying, hey, I'm lesbian. Hey, I'm gay. Hey, I'm bi. Hey, I'm trans. The very thing that you are attempting to overcome is the thing that you are causing in other people. Because now people like myself have to be afraid to be like, I think 5-year-olds at drag shows is too much. Oh God, don't shoot me. I mean, the fact that that's controversial is insane. It's absurd. It's insanity. Bring the asteroid. It can't come quick enough. Is that how you want it to go? Is that how you want it to be? Because you could say gays have been oppressed. I won't even argue with that. I'm not even going to argue with that. You can say it. In many ways, it's been true. Okay, I'll bite. But the answer to that is not by oppressing the other people. Because eventually, let's say you get your way. Let's say you get your way. Okay, you might. But eventually, somewhere down the road, then it'll be the straight people saying we've been oppressed for so long. And then they'll be coming for you. It's not the answer. Love me or I will hate you is not the answer. If you want to be like everybody else, if you want to be inclusive, if you want to be included, if you want to feel welcome, we have to feel, we being the quote, straight middle people, we have to feel like you will use proper discernment. You will speak out against wrongs when they are done by your community. And I don't see enough. Now, I know that there was a group that tried it and they got banned from Facebook. I can't even say the name of the group on YouTube without the video being taken down. So I'm not saying that there have been no people in the community that have tried to speak up. But think about that for a second. I can't even say the name of the group. They were gay people against 5-year-olds at drag shows. And I can't even say the name of the group on YouTube without getting the video taken down. Is that inclusive? Is that inclusion? Is that just wanting to be like everybody else? Or is that something else entirely at this point? So my gut was right not to do the live stream yesterday. And I thought about this and I thought about this. And as I've gone on here, in this moment, boy, do I want to put this out publicly. I'm not sure. I might. What I do know is that, and this isn't a shot at any of my friends. I don't expect anybody to say anything similar. But what I do see in hockey media is just clapping seals for the most part. Clapping seals because they know that if they come out with the wrong opinion, it's going to cost them money. Simple as that. Simple as that. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. But that's the world we live in. And that's what I meant last night in the recap when I said I look at the hockey media and I look at sports media and I don't know if I belong. Because I don't. The only Florida Panther writer that follows me is Colby. They don't even follow me on Twitter. They won't interact with my tweets. So that's okay. I'm already the outcast. Okay. I'm already the outcast. When I was busy winning this trophy, when I was busy winning the Upper Deck MVP fan award, because Twitter voted for me, it took a lot of different tweets from a lot of different people to get the team to even acknowledge it. So I'm not. The people that like me. But there's plenty that don't. I don't suppose this is going to hurt my reputation any. And if it does, I guess that's the way it goes. If you can listen to what I've said today and glean hate from it, that's on you. That's completely on you. I couldn't care less when people do in the bedroom. I couldn't care less who you marry. I couldn't care less. And I was massaging those people. I don't know. I never thought about it. That should show you. That should tell you all you need to know. I just put an ad out there and I was massaging gay guys, and it didn't even cross my mind that they were going to hit on me. I was surprised by it. I was caught off guard by it. That should tell you where my brain was. Just like everybody else, don't bother me any. But as soon as you disagree, as soon as you do not agree with every single thing, you're all of the bad things. And there's things that we can remain silent on and things we can't. And the kids is where we draw the line. That's the line. I'm sorry. And if you have an argument as for why 5-year-olds should be at a drag show, you need therapy. And there's nothing that I'm going to say. And you're likely going to unsubscribe, unfollow. If you actually believe. Now, it's one thing if you're going to argue with me and say it's not happening. I can prove it is. But if you're going to sit there and say, so what? So what if 5-year-old's giving a drag queen dollars while he's in a thong? If you say so to what to that, there's nothing I can tell you. There's nothing I can say to you other than good luck with that. But that's not love. That's not love is love. That's not inclusion. That's not equality. That's not equity. That is something completely different. And I suspect y'all know that. And I suspect that that's why the hate for the Provorovs and the Reimers and the Staals is so easily seen on social media, because you all are afraid to say, you know what? Maybe it's because of this thing that they keep telling us it is. So I'm not the first one to say that was the line. You don't hear it a lot in sports because you get the shaft. But you know what the line is. You know it. You don't need me to tell it to you. All right. Still don't know if it's coming out public, but if you're watching it, I guess it came out public. For those of you who stick around after this, I appreciate all of the support. And I'll see you tomorrow. I should be good to go for the stream. Panthers, Rangers, we get 2 points.